Good afternoon, Kirshni. Thanks for having me on the show again.
Grant, how did Cape Town get into this water crisis in the first place, and could this have all been averted?
Kirshni, I think it's very important for us to remember that climate is a variable thing, and what happens is that we obviously rely on rainfall. That's the obvious factor, but we also rely on rain falling in the right places. So we have experienced, and this is not the first time we've experienced something like this. We're experiencing a very dry year. We have experienced dry years before and drought conditions before, such as in the year 2000. But what's different this year is that we have had a few dry years in a row. So we've had 3 dry years in a row now. And the current data that has been analyzed by Dr. Wolski of UCT actually shows us that in those areas where our dams are, our water catchment areas where we get our water from, in those areas, this is possibly a 1 in 300 odd year flood. So it's an incredibly rare occurrence, but it is related to weather. It's related to weather patterns. So it's not something that we could have actually avoided in terms of what's happening with the weather around us.
Grant, South Africa is in a strong position to lead, aren't we? We are an active member, vocal member of the G77. We have strong international leadership and good policies. But when it comes to our adaptation strategies, what should these look at, and what are some of the adaptation responses that we should be instituting at national and local levels?
Kirshni, I think that I think that there are a lot of very interesting and new technologies coming out in terms of water harvesting. There's new research being done, just as there is with wind power and solar power. I think there's a lot of things that could be looked at. But to be honest, I think that we could really stick to the basics. And if on a local scale and a national scale, we could be looking at utilizing our water better, and so utilizing less potable water for our toilets, for watering the plants, for things that we're not using to actually consume. If we could look at grey water systems and also then harvesting water ourselves where there is water available through rainwater tanks, for example, I think that even though it seems like quite a simple solution, if you could roll that out on a larger scale and get people actually collecting their own water, then we could take a lot of pressure off of our potable water systems.
Grant, how can the general public get involved because on the ground, because it's going to take a great deal of individual responsibility and not always looking to government to solve all of our problems when it comes to water scarcity?
Yes, absolutely. I think that for those that are able to, then I think that people should be looking into getting their own grey water systems put in place, or just having rainwater tanks in their homes. And then obviously, very importantly, we also have to realize that water is a limited, it's a finite resource. So we do need to start looking at ways that we can actually save the water that we do have when we do have it. And then again, like I've just said, find ways to actually capture and store the water when it is available to us.
Grant Smith, the Estuaries Manager at the Endangered Wildlife Trust, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us on the SABC News Desk. Time to